You're listening to Community Voice PHL, an award-winning talk show that informs, engages, and inspires. Thanks for tuning in to Community Voice PHL talk show on WPPM LP Philadelphia. Community Voice is a talk show that highlights the value-based pro services that people doing in the tri-state area. We have engaged interviews with amazing people who inspire you to get involved with caring and prosperous communities. So thanks again for listening to Community Voice Talk Show, a show that informs, engages, and inspires. Once again, I'm thankful to be on the air one more time, and it's always great because every time we come on, it's always someone awesome, amazing that we're going to be bringing on. And I'm excited about the test that we're going to have on talk today. And we're going to get into a great conversation. But before we go on the air, share a little bit about what's happening in the city and what's happening in Croy and the tri-state area. So what we're having, well, not we, but what's happening now is that, of course, if any who are out there celebrating the holiday season, whether it be Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever holiday you embrace, Center Street, they're going to be having the Gilworth Plaza. Get out there, get your gates on. Now I've never been, and a lot of my friends have always told me, "Hey Jeff, you get out there, got to learn how to skate." And yeah, my wife says, we got to get out. I think my wife knows how to skate. I didn't even ask her, but I'm going to ask her if she knows how to skate. And if we're not get out there and have some fun. But that's another one, holiday event. And I know it embraces various different celebrations, but it's just a time just to get out there. And then also right in that area, Christmas Village or Holiday Village, or I forget what the official name of it is, Holiday Village now, because they want to move away being outside of being inclusive, so they name it maybe Holiday Village. But that area is really a great place to go support small businesses, local vendors, and a chance to some unique gifts and or unique items for your house and for your. So those are two things I just wanted to share real quick. Along with also, there are a couple emails I know said last time we were going to just go over the emails that were sent to us, and I'm gonna go over three particular. So one email was from one of our listeners, and I'm of course gonna give the email or name because I want to keep kind of discretion there. But one email was talking about, we had the fitness guest on, Steve Evans. When we had Steve Evans, the fitness guru, he said you should have Steve back now that the days are over, because folks may want to have some tips on get ready for the new year and even for the new year. So we really will be having Steve on. Thanks for sending that email, because every beginning of the year we have our series Smart Stars, and we have been fitness expert, finance expert, wellness expert. They all come on and just talk about how you can start your year. So we are going to have Steve back on the show. So definitely thank you for sending that email. And then an email came in just really saying how they really appreciate the fact that we community organizations and community nonprofits that sometimes don't get the notoriety that other stations and organizations get. So, and I appreciate that in particular, because as you all know, that is why I do Community Voice, to give those individuals and organizations who often don't the notoriety they need and or deserve to be on the air and share our listeners and viewers on streaming channels a chance to share what they're doing and the great work that they're accomplishing. So appreciate that email, appreciate those two emails. And I'll take time every time I get on the air, read a few of those emails also, that we can let you know that when we say email us, we're reading them, and we'll get to share them, good, bad, and indifferent, because of course some of y'all be sending them stuff, be like, yeah, a little bit challenging, but I'm gonna read those too as much as I can, just discretionally, because I want to be bound. I want to just read the good stuff. I want to hear some feedback where you say, hey, Jeff, you do this, you could do that a little bit better. I want to be honest. I want this show to be about the voice of the people, the voice of the community. So the more we can come to in that capacity, the more I love this. But I just wanted to and read those emails again. To let you know, I am reading, and I do want to share them as much as I can without wait time for my awesome guests that we have on the air. So, with that said, I'm going to put right there because I'm going to bring on the air one of the great guests on the show. Another one of our guests are on the way, but this person I met, and it was just like everyone on the show. Gotta have them on the show. It's just like a must. And I'm sure a lot of us have meet someone, and we get into a conversation, and whether we're having a show or doing something around the community, I gotta connect with that person. That's how it was when I met Summer Willow. Now, she does a lot, right? And if I could read her bio, only have half an hour now, so I don't want to exhaust all my time about how and dynamic Willow is. But I'll let her do her own brief, and then we get into a good conversation about the work that she's doing, and how it helps the people and communities that she's. So, Summer, drum roll. Thanks for being on Voice PHL Talk Show.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. You're welcome. So give our listeners and those who are going to be watching on this half human channel a little bit about the work you do.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Willow Fitch. I am one half of the Kabak Consulting Group team. My partner Timmy Good Otis, who is out in upstate New York. My primary focus in the spaces that I work in is trauma-informed training and development. I work with small businesses, organizations, individuals who are looking to move the needle in their work, and also change course and be the best that they can be. So I found this sweet in the trauma space, also emotional intelligence, diversity, equity, inclusion. I'm an instructor. I am currently a student studying master's marriage and family therapy. So therapy and trauma are really near in my heart. So, along some others in charge was very, very lucky to be selected to board the CEG grant, which is a City of Philadelphia grant dedicated to violence. And when that happened, they brought me in to create some innovative programming. So I teamed up with Mr. Shawn Alleyne here, and we're making it happen with Artivism.
Artivism. So we get into Artivism. Never late, always on time.
Yeah.
My man Shawn, what's up?
What's going on, man? Peoples. Hey.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks for joining the show. Just doing some rounds of introductions. Give our listeners and viewers a little bit of intro about yourself. Then we're going to talk about Artivism and how that impacts what we're doing in the city, what you're doing in the city.
Oh, okay, yes. So my name is Shawn Alleyne, Barbadian born, West Philadelphia, bred artist.
I'll break out with the song West Philadelphia.
Yeah, right. My brother was telling me that he was like, I know you love West Philly, but there's big places up in North for rent.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah. Fine, illustrator, creator, writer, instructor. I've been doing the freelance thing, for a little while, teaching. It's probably like 2010. I've been a comic book artist.
Okay.
And from knowing Summer, knowing the work that she was doing when she asked me to come on board, it was a brainer. So yeah, she told me about this initiative that Buzz in Charge is doing, and that they wanted to have this course be a part of the programming. And I saw immediately. We got to work. We came up with a curriculum, and the rest history, as they say.
Yeah, that's what's up. So your comic book art, your creative art. Tell a little bit more about that. More in the line of like Marvel D or kind of.
But yeah. I was raised on comic books. I was
okay.
raised on.
Okay. This is there is a wrong answer here. Superman or Batman?
Oh,
there's a wrong answer.
Oh, it was going to be a quick quiz. But I'm gonna choose Batman. But it's the thing, I'm going to over that superseding that. I'm going to Marvel. I'm more of a Marvel head.
Okay. So Hulk or Thor?
Ooh, that's a tough one. About to go Thor. Thor's in my life.
Okay. You stay on the show.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And it's funny you said that. Thor being in my talk. Above comic books, it was Eden, and I was always into mythology.
Yeah.
And classic Greek heroes, and you see something like Thor really using Viking mythology and books. I was hooked from there. But so yeah, just coming up, loving him, spending, fondest memories of growing up and just being in the library, and me and my brother cut with our own superheroes and stuff. But it was funny because I never saw comic books as an actual form of employment, and especially in those days too, it wasn't something that was talked about. I didn't even know like how to become a comic book artist. Just something that you saw on the bookshelf. Hey, there's a comic. So I had no knowledge of the inner workings. And but I used to love to draw, and I used to write and create, and it wasn't until years later, and I came to America. My parents immigrated here, and they said that I should be an architect that was more prestigious, and be able to actually make a living, right? But I couldn't get into this because of my immigration status at the time. It was this technical drawing school, and my dad put her immediately. He was like, "Okay, we'll get a job and pay." And that's what happened to art and the writing to the side. It became more hobby, as everybody was telling me. And then years later, I still drawing. I started attending comic book conventions first as just a fan, want to immerse myself in this world, and then I started getting a couple clients, right? And I started doing conventions then as a guest, as a panelist, and as a creator. And then from there, I started to gather this client. And at the time, I was working full time. I ended up being a chef at a ballet school down Broadway myself. I don't know if anybody knows the Rock Academy.
Okay.
I was working there cooking, and we got laid off. I had this one my biggest client at the time, and I said, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll just do unemployment, this little side hustle for do this art thing, and it turned into a time gig.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how I got started.
Wow. That's scary, man, because sometimes it takes certain transitions to realize where our really passion is at. Like you said, you want this part-time thing. Does hustle turn out to be really where you were supposed to be in the long run? So
I do have to credit him because he was working for a nonprofit organization called Crestle. And I think they're still around.
Yeah.
And he was a comic book writer, and he was the first person that said, "Hey, Shawn, what about you come on and do this book class?"
Yeah.
So I started with him designing this book curriculum. And then when he left there and he went his own way, I just ran with it. And it was actually, thanks to an interaction with him that didn't end so well that it forced me to doing the art full time, because I went to the Lots conference. Back then it was this natural hair show. It was an amazing, beautiful experience. And after the situation with him, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes to be an artist. I'm never going to let somebody control me, right? And I went on Facebook. I started looking for art related that I could do, and I saw a flyer for this convention, and I went there, and somebody said, "Hey, have you ever taught classes?" I said, "Yeah." And he gave me a list of nonprofit organizations I could work with, and blossom
from there. And as that blog began to develop, it turned into what I wanted to say about Artivism. Summer Artivism. I know a phrase that I'm familiar with, but share our listeners and viewers. What is Artivism, and how is it impacting the work that you're doing in a way that's going to really resonate with our listeners, viewers? Because of course, Shawn can lay his voice to it as well. But I want you to share, what is Artivism, and what does it mean to you, community?
So Artivism is an art-based, trauma-informed project that is Power Mothers in Charge, where we use art, education, and storytelling to help young people shift their narrative. Mothers in Charge, anti-violence organization that started on the backs of mothers whose children were murdered. And the organization now, 21 years later, has morphed into something that feeds the community as it relates to grief, loss, and resilience. And so we have programs now that speak to nonviolence and also to the reunification families, post-violence, so there's management, anger management, like that. But Dorothy Spite, who is the executive director, and Michelle Kerr-Spry, who's the director of programs, wanted to focus on this on the youth. Unfortunately, when mothers lose their children, if they have multiple children, sometimes the other can, kind of be not neglected, but overlooked. And not overlooked in the sense that they're not tended to, but their grief also matters.
Right. That's important. Yeah.
And these mothers know this, and they come to Mothers in Charge for so Mother in Charge wanted to support full family. So when this CEG grant came along, thankful to the city of Philadelphia, all of the organizations that were giving these dollars were able to come out of the box programming. And Michelle Fry really wanted to do an art program because she understands the power of art and how you can tell your story, how you can, kind of meditate and think through some things as you use art. So we created this program because, the gun violence in the city is although the numbers are going down, right? We have to acknowledge because that's in response to a lot of work that we're all doing in the city. But we still have a really big problem. And what we recognize at Mothers in Charge is that the bigger problem is trauma. And trauma, I would pre-COVID was not something that was a shared event, right? You probably could bump into somebody who said, "I've never been through anything bad or traumatic." Right? Yeah. But after COVID, we all there, right? We're all traumatized. We all understand loss. We all understand, like rug being pulled from under. And then with all of the civil unrest and the social injustice, everything kind of coming to a head. I think it was real important that we addressed the effects of all of these world happenings on our youth, the effect of how our generations and societies are over time, and seemingly leaving our young out. And because of the things that they're experiencing, they're also not able to support that they need to really dig deep in what's going on. We can have this like prescriptive programming throughout the city where, guns off the street, turn in your gun, but I have nothing against basketball because let me tell you something. Basketball brings men together. But there's different leagues and that, but we really wanted to bring forth the element of storytelling and the hero's journey. That's something that Shawn talks about that most of the world unfortunately, according to media, social media, a lot of the world sees a lot of our children problems, in a negative light. And with all of the murders happening with young people, younger than 16 years old, people have questions, and we want to know what we can about it, and that we know what we can do about it. Through my charge, Shawn, myself doing training through trauma, is that once you create safety, once you open up vulnerability and allow young people to talk about their experiences, you really get to see why they do what they do. Most importantly, what happened in their lives that changed their trajectory perspective.
Like using art as obviously the answer yes, but is it like using art therapeutically because they don't necessarily be artists? Do they show some?
No. So that's one of the great things about the program is that don't have to be an artist to do this. And Shawn is really great teaching art from a basic level all the way up to a skillful level. But what they're doing, and I'll let Shawn talk about the art. But what we're doing is it's a 6-week program for you 13 to 17. Our primary group is right now we're dealing with are in the juvenile justice center. These are young people that need to hear this message and have these classes and this project. And we through this weeks we go over 6 different tenets, different philosophies around trauma, how it affects your body and your decision making. And we use those lessons and infuse them into a story that want to tell about normal themselves, but a hero story. The world already sees them as villains. They're locked up. right? So we want them to use their pain and turn power, and we turn it to power literally by creating their very own superheroes, their superhero stories.
So, Shawn, when they're going the hero's journey, the hero story, because I'm familiar with that, and it's also a book. I think it's Clyde Ford, The Hero African Faith. They also use the concept of the hero's journey. But as you're taking through the art portion of the hero journey, are you allowing them to express themselves however they are feeling, or is there a guided method for that?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's where it starts. You know. So what we do the way we programs usually summer will start with the base aspect of it, and then I'll follow up with the art portion. But what I try to do is that I try to sprinkle in some seeds of real life. You know, Summer, the genius that she is. You know, she's going for her master's in it. You know, I like to think of myself more of a street therapist.
Okay.
You know, like I could try to come with that realness, the grounding reality, but incorporate our aspect to it. But it is about giving a voice to voiceless. You know, like kids that have been repressed or you know, it's about them telling, because it goes beyond the character that they make it. It goes beyond art that they created.
So they may make, is the characters it themselves, or how do you let them develop the character or out being too, you know, revealing of their situation?
Yeah, we try to give them that freedom.
Okay.
That, you know, they can create whatever they
Gotcha.
right, and we give them the guidelines to do that. And you know, the thing is, of course, we have to recognize that we only have 6 weeks with them. Sometimes it's 5, because last week is more of a celebration and a reveal of the characters.
Gotcha.
So we have these 5 weeks with them, 2 hours, you know, for that one class. So it's going to be is a lot more step involved. So at the end of it, some of them may not quite be to tell their personal story yet, because they're still dealing with it. You know, as we talk about in the class, you know, healing is a lifelong journey. So there's, you know, what we're trying to do is just get see that they can start the process. You know what I mean? Now they're able to reveal some of their self personality and their story. That's great. Yeah. But is like I say, it's bigger than the character. It's about them just being able to create. It's about the third part of it, where that they can relax and get out of that mentality that they have to be constantly on guard.
Right.
And just have and just feel like this is something that could create that's there. That's the most important.
So those who are going to see it online, see the expression in your faces, but those who are in radio land, this is just like, you can see the joy that her and Shawn has in talking about this. And I can imagine, so when you're collaborating in these scenes, do you and Summer see like how Shawn helped them like get through about that process? And Shawn, I want you to reflect on how when you look at it too, how this person really, you know, came through the art. So give a little bit about that before we.
Yeah, I think the biggest factor there is the safety, the vulnerability. Shawn and I, you know, we're very vulnerable in front of them. And lessons that I teach while Shawn is standing off to the side, he takes notes every time. Like, he didn't hear my speech last time, but he takes notes, and he but mostly to note of what they were saying, because from day one, it's just, you know, a blessing that our vulnerability unlocks their vulnerability. And then we start to have these really good conversations where they understand things. It's the aha moments. At least for me, I don't speak for you. It's the aha moments for me where they really grasp some IG, or they really start to understand, oh, why I do. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense, right? And then they start to put that into context with the decisions that they're making, with the thoughts they have, with the beliefs that they have, and start a shift. And I think that with Mr. Shawn class, when Mr. Shawn tag teaming all the things that I'm saying, he brings my lesson to their art, into their story, and watching them just use what I'm saying. The art is magical.
Yeah, and see, that's what I was alluding to, and I'm glad you were articulating what you just did, because that's the magic that I'm sensing. You give that guideline, then Shawn, like you said, brings it to his own capacity. So Shawn, how does that then relate? Because someone was saying you're taking these notes, and I'm sure that's helping you as you guide students artistically.
Oh yeah, definitely. You want to make it cohesive. And, you know, I always tell them I'm creating my characters. I draw from real life. You know, a story that I have right now that's on Amazon. Shameless plug. Paths of Bim, right? And it is set in this fantasy world of Barbados, and it has all the, you know, the themes you might find in typical fantasy stories. It's really about personal story about me and my dad, and some of the things I went through when I was just younger. You know, I use that as an example of like, hey, this is a way you could tell your story. story. So I take what Miss I was about to do this summer. I was about to do what Summer does, and then I try to bring that into the world of how to use tap and create, because once again it's not necessarily them telling their particular story. If they do that's great. It's just being able to open up or think outside the box. And I had my teary-eyed Hallmark moment yesterday class where one of the kids he was new to the right, and I could tell he was a little reserved, and he was drifting off a bit in his own mind, right? So after I had did my demonstration, I gave him the assignment. Hey, no, start the character. I saw just to the side, so I was like, all right, I got to make sure I go to him, so specifically spend some time with him. And he was as out of as he was like, man, I don't really do this. I'm not really into the superhero stuff. That's weird. His words. He was like, weird. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't take offense to that. Get it. It's the whole day. You know what I mean? So it was how do I take all those that I'm preaching and actually apply now and say, well, let me start with this. What if you could have any superpower in the world? What would you, right? And I don't know. I said, okay, that's a start. All right. So, all right, don't tell me this. If you a superhero, how would you? I don't know. I'll look like a regular Philly boy. I can't do it. My Barbadian accent, but you know what I mean. But so from I started to sketch what the character looked like, right? And then I said, well, okay, let me, so I give him a little prompt. I said, well, okay, what if he's not a typical superhero? What if he's a regular guy that happens to get powers, but his is to analyze the powers of other superheroes? And so from him opening up slowly, from me drawing the picture, and then from other kids coming over saying, oh, that's hot, or hard. He started the joy in his face. He started to feel pride of thinking there's something from my mind that is now a love that's tangible. Wow. By the end, he was a whole different person. Excited. I had some kind of onions or something. I don't know what was going on, but it was
listen.
And
those are the beautiful moments that I know Artivism displays and Mothers in Charge, and shout out to Doc Dorothy for the work that she's both you collectively. So as we begin to wrap up, because we could talk about this for hours and hours, and I would definitely like to invite back on so we can extend this conversation. Share with our listeners and viewers what the next step. How can they get involved and engaged and send you for even take part in work?
So I would say, since this program is funded through a grant, first of all, everybody pray that we grant again because we're up again. But once that happens, if you're interested in bringing Artivism to your school, to your organization, just contact mothersincharge.org. You can go to the website and you can contact through a contact sheet and just say, I'm interested in Artivism, and someone will reach out to you and we'll see what we can make happen. Like I said, our hope is that we're funded again.
And how do you get in contact?
With Mothers in Charge? Yes. Mothersincharge.org.
Okay.
There's a contact sheet on that.
Okay. Okay. And showing like what's next for the program from your perspective, from the arts perspective. Have you begun to develop any new curriculum or the extended support once they start their project?
I think that's one of the things, the beautiful things about Summer and I work. Like she said, I take notes constantly every week, no matter what, because there's always new that could come up. Right. So for me, the program is for shifting. It's organic. So there might be things that Summer discussed that were like, yo, we should this or we should change this. So is we're always trying to make that we stay grounded and connect to the youth. If they're ever changing lifestyle. But it is also about staying. One thing I would love to see more of is keeping in touch with kids after we're done the program. So one of the kids, the JJC, he was leaving as I went in, and I gave him my number. I was like, anything you need me, I want to see more of that.
And that's the important part. Maintain a connection. Summer, you had your hand.
Just wanted to say Artivism not just for youth, it's for adults as well.
Do your program help serve adults as well?
Absolutely.
Well, we're going to have that information in our show notes so that anyone who was involved with Artivism through the work of Shawn and Miss Summer. We're going to have that so you can take care of it and be able to support them, because it is a unique and creative initiative to deal not just trauma, but also creativity in the lives of our youth, to give them other resources and outlets. So thank you, Shawn, for being on Community Voice PHL Talk Show. We'll have you back again because we have to have part 2 of this conversation, because I got to ask Summer who's her favorite hero and all that too.
Yes, you did.
I already know.
Because there is a wrong answer. But,
man.
but hey, it's Jeff Jones for Community Voice PHL Talk Show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, if it's happening in your community, we need to hear your voice. Peace, and we are out.